Well, hello again, ladies and gentlemen. It's your friend No Way. I guess it's time that we really talk about a lot of things that are going on in our country, and I know a lot of us we know the evil that is in our society, and how even the Bible has explained in these days that right will be wrong, wrong will be right, and evil is good, good is evil, and we're seeing that because of the propaganda from our media, from our school systems, our universities, our colleges, and sadly, a lot of our politicians. We're under attack. One of the things that I've noticed in society over the years, they want people to think that if just you stand up alone, that's it. There's nothing you can do. And we see that with the left. We see that with the evil that's in our society today because what do they promote? They promote the collective. They promote large groups of radicals, and they're going to bully you and they're going to attack you. And sadly, we see today they will gladly unalive you for not going along with their delusional world that don't exist and it never has. But because the the truth of God, the truth in the Bible, has been taken out of society. I know many of you will, oh, it has not, blah, blah, blah. And this is what I see from my perspective. Our churches, many of our churches today, take a good look. Look at the number of churches that have opened their doors saying it's all about love. That's it. There's no repercussions. There's no nothing. And how many of them still, right to today, they're not promoting that lifestyle, but they don't speak out against it either. It's all reward, 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 no punishment, no sin. The Bible is used today mostly as a bag of trail mix. They use only what they like and they throw out the rest. That's not what God wanted. That's not what God intended. So we're seeing this in society. And as I had just mentioned, the biggest thing they want is a collective mind. A collective mind is easy to control because they all think alike. Look at these college students and these radicals of what has now been declared a terrorist organization, Antifa. All the crimes of, well, BLM. Their founding leaders and stuff that were collecting millions of dollars, well, they're now pleading guilty and being sentenced to jail for what? Embezzling millions of dollars from their so-called organization. And we're seeing these acts of violence. And it's all a collective mind, a collective mind, a collective mind, a collective mind. That's what evil wants. That's exactly what Satan does. He creates a collective mind. Now, when it comes to the Bible, sadly today we do have a lot of Christians and a lot of denominations of churches, which I've never agreed with all these denominations. There is one God. There's one Bible and there's one truth. So how is it we have all these different denominations and all these different names of churches, and they all have their own interpretation and everything, but they are creating a collective mind? They want you to believe that you as a singular person cannot incite change or create difference. So let's take a look at what one person can do. So when we look all the way back, and we go all the way back to Noah, God saw that what he created, it wasn't working out. Since the sins of the flesh with Adam and Eve, he's seeing that the world is corrupted. The world it's not going down a good path. It's very evil. So he's going to wipe it all out. But what does he do? He uses one man. Just one. This one man saved all of humankind. All of it. And he saved all the animals of their kind. That's not every individual dog, every individual wolf, every individual of the canine. It was canines. With cats, it was felines. With human beings, it was Noah, his wife, his 3 sons, and their 3 wives. 8 people. So, one man saved the whole human race. And everything we see today came from those 8 people. Everything else was gone. So now let's come to Abraham. One man. One man done what God wanted, followed God and God's word and God's commands of him. And you can say that Abraham was the birth of Christianity, of what Christianity is today, even though it was the Hebrews and the Israelites that came directly from Abraham, but it also birthed all of us. Christianity. The belief and the follow and the fellowship with God. So if we come a little further, now we have Moses. Here's one man. One man stood up against a whole empire and freed his people from bondage with the power of God. One man did it all. And one man led them to the promised land. So you see the power of one man. But evil doesn't want that. Evil wants a collective mind. So when the collective mind is corrupted, all of the community and the collective mind is corrupted with it. So if we come further, well, what did one man do when he didn't just stand up against his own leadership, but he stood up against the Roman Empire as well? So one man stood up against 2 empires. And they thought by silencing that one voice and that one man, they would end the growth of Christianity, the growth of believing in the gospel of Jesus Christ, that this one man was the Son of God. And this one man took the sin of every human being for all time and took it upon himself and was crucified and put to death for us, so that we may be saved, and that we may have eternal life with him and the Father in heaven. This gospel had to be stopped. So they thought if they crucified this one man, that would be the end of it. But what happened? The same thing with Noah. It didn't end. The world didn't end. Noah kept it going. Abraham birthed a whole new meaning of life. Moses saved a whole nation of people and led them to freedom and led them to their promised land. And Jesus Christ saved all of us. So when it came to the evil, they were going to silence Charlie Kirk. Not because they didn't like what he was saying. It's because the children were listening. The college students were listening. And they were losing control of a few here and there. And they just kept losing more and more and more and more. That were questioning their methods. We're questioning their indoctrination. We're questioning their lies. And we're questioning their evil. And that would not stand, and that could not stand. But look at what that one man done. Look at the people through the atrocity and sadly the loss of his life has brought all of these people forward that enough is enough, and they will speak for God. And this is what we're facing today. You have to speak your truth. Do not be ashamed. Do not be ashamed into silence. And if they're going to take your life, they're going to take your life if you speak or not. Evil is losing. And they do not like it. This is why we just keep seeing every other day or, every couple days, it just keeps happening and happening and happening and happening and happening. And we're seeing the violence come forth again and again and again and again. And it's getting worse and worse and worse. Why? Because evil is losing. They don't want you to know history. All you have to do is look back through history. Mussolini, what he done in Italy, what Adolf Hitler done in Germany, what Mao done in China, what the Castro brothers did in Cuba, Venezuela, North Korea. Look at them. Look at how these dictators are. But they want you to believe that this one man in the White House today is the problem, when he's the only one trying to fix it. Sadly, too many people in America are sitting back and waiting for this one man to fix everything. The thing is one man cannot do it without the backing and the support of other people. Not to be in one collective mind and one collective soul, no, but to be your own individual self. And be brave enough to stand up, and to be brave enough to say no to the oppressor, and be brave enough to say no to this violence. It's going to get worse, and it's going to get much worse, and it's going to keep growing and growing and growing, because these people that have sold out America, and they have sold out you. Not only does this fiat currency is nothing more than keeping you a slave while they enrich themselves, but everything involved, everything across the board. Look at all the laws and regulations that they have pushed onto the people over the past 100 years. You still think you're free, but you're not. Whenever you become a problem to them, all they have to do is sit down. When you step out of bed in the morning and you step out of your house, you may not even realize you've already committed numerous crimes. It's just if they're going to enforce them or not. But when you become a problem to them and a thorn in their side, they will pull out all stops to try. And I know, because I've been that thorn in the side of my town government, even when I was part of that town government, and they tried everything to destroy me. And they couldn't. Because every time they tried to destroy me, I stood up to them and I beat them, and then I went to the people and the people beat them. I didn't tell them how to vote. I showed them the facts. This is what they're doing, this is what is happening, and this is what they're going to do if you follow their vote. So you have a decision to make. Look at all of this evidence and you have to vote yes or no. That is up to you. And it just so happened that more people believed and studied and looked at the truth of what was going on and stopped the town in their tracks. And that's how it is. You don't have to be part of a collective for good or for evil. You have to be yourself. You have to stand up to your own convictions and stand true to your own convictions. And that is how you change the world. That is how one soul can make all the difference in the world. It's one soul standing up for what is right. And others will follow that example. I'm not saying to be part of a collective and look for one person to do it for you. You have to be willing to stand up for yourself and for your own convictions. Because if you're only going to follow the leader, when the leader goes over the cliff, like certain political party today is, they're cutting off their head to save their face. And they can't understand why their whole socialist movement is going over a cliff. Because they're doubling down their hatred, their violence, their lies, their propaganda. But it's that violence they need. Just like, what did Adolf Hitler do? He created a whole band of what they call brown shirts. Then he created problems. Then he created and he found a race of people that he wanted annihilated, and he turned the German people against that race, blaming all the problems were theirs. Oh, well, that's the same thing Italy did. That's the same thing that China did. That's the same thing that Cuba did. That's the same thing that Venezuela did. That's the same thing that Argentina did. That's the same thing that Somalia did, Yemen did, Iraq, Iran, many African nations. And that's how it is. You create the problems and the hardships. And then you find the person, and then you create a narrative and a hatred for a certain group of people. So look what it is today in America. It's straight, white, Christian males. We are the root of all the problems. If we could just get rid of, all the white, straight, Christian males, then we'd have a great country. But the people fighting for the socialism have no idea what it is. They have no idea what it is that they're truly fighting for. They truly think that the government is just going to continue to give them and give them and give them and give them everything they want, and everything's going to be free. Nothing in this world is free. They don't understand that once, if at all, if they ever get a socialist country here in America, fully 100% socialist, these people have no idea. You will not get your free food, your free health care, your free housing. Number one, you won't have a vehicle, you won't have a cell phone, you won't have anything. And you will have to work for the government for your house, your food, what form of health care they care to give you. And you'll be lucky to have enough money to buy a new pair of pants once every 5 years. Maybe a shirt here and there. Because what little bit of money they will allow you to have is going to go to cover up your butt. You don't understand. That is socialism. Because you must remember, a government powerful enough to give you everything is a government powerful enough to take everything. Nothing in this world is free. They want slaves. So all these kids are thinking the Democratic Socialist of America, they don't even have a clue to what it is. They really think that they're going to be in charge of everybody. But they're not. They're being used. What's the Bible say? The deceivers that are being deceived. The deceivers are being deceived by their masters. And the deceivers that are deceiving the population have no idea that when the higher-ups and the globalists, when they're done with these deceiving politicians, do you think they're going to want these politicians around? Oh, no. They're the first ones to go. Why? Because they can't be trusted. You sold out your own country and your own people to us. Now you can't be trusted with our authority over them and over you. And they'll be thrown out like Monday morning trash. That's just how it is. That's how life goes. So remember, you don't need a collective. You need what's in your heart. And bring forth your truth in your heart to the people. And stand true to your convictions. And your truth. And the truth of God and the truth in that Bible. And you will be surprised how far that spreads. And how many seeds you can sow that in time will grow. So hopefully, you're all being safe. You're paying attention. Because it's going to get much worse before it ever gets better. So on that, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, God willing, this is No Way Out.